So this is my Garp. Um, Pretty much when this first happened, I wasn't sure what was actually going on with him. I thought he might have had a swim bladder issue because he was floating on the surface and it didn't look quite right compared to what I'd seen in the past. It wasn't until I saw the kink in his back that I actually considered that he might have had a broken back. I would actually like to apologize for the current footage because this is the first video I ever made before the first video I ever made because I'm only releasing it now. And I hadn't actually gotten the camera settings adjusted. So please bear with it. It will change and look a bit better after the first 2 days. I'm doing the air quotes, but you can't really see me doing the air quotes. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So this quick opening is pretty much just to summarize what I wanted to capture with this documentary, more or less. So when I filmed this was in March 24th, a couple of days before the fish arrived, and it's pretty much just a record every now and then until today, which is actually the 24th of May, so pretty much 2 months since the incident occurred, and I just wanted to take you guys through the whole, what I went through, what the fish went through, and kind of what you have to do or what you want to look out for when you see your fish going through this, because I took to the internet as soon as I figured out what had happened, trying to figure out, would he make it through? What do I have to do? Because I was in this massive panic, and I think for like the next 2 weeks, I just could not sleep. And so I didn't find any recorded documents of somebody having their gar and taking it through the whole process. I found one, but I think it was just a before and after clip, and so I kind of wanted to get the middle bit as well. There was a good description in the video itself, but I just think that if you can actually see what's going on, it might just help everybody out a bit more. Unfortunately, I will put this in now. I did delete some of the middle footage, which really sucks, which is pretty much the first time he started eating. But I mean, yeah, well, he's alive today, and if you've been current with my videos, you'll know he's actually fine, and he's eating in most of the other videos, so that's not a big shock to anybody. But I think the important thing was that he was eating very little, but the fact that he was eating was what was important, because when I fed him bloodworms, and he was literally eating like one strand a meal, and that was it. Because I think when he injured himself, I think he also injured like the muscles for his jaw, so he couldn't really open his jaw up much, and so it took a while to actually get him feeding, getting active. But yeah, it does really suck that I stupidly deleted everything. There's something else that's important as well. One sec. So just to explain to you what happened in the first few days, more or less, he didn't eat. Yeah, so more or less he didn't eat for 2.5 to nearly 3 weeks. At all. Nothing. No matter how much I tried to feed him, he would not eat. But I think after 2 weeks, I saw him attempting to eat the food. I think he went through a few days where he would chase the food, and then another few days where he would chase the food, put it in his mouth, and spit it out until finally he would eat. So I think that is very important, is as long as they're still active and they've kind of got an appetite or they're showing interest in food, you can... I can't really say you can stop being worried because, I was completely worried and still sort of am, even all the way now, and it's been 2 months, so... But it kind of just helps you realize that he's getting better, and... yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna let myself explain bits and pieces of what's happening, and I will try and interject where I can with myself currently, because obviously I now know what's happened, so I can make amends to anything that's incorrect or that I might be rambling on about or repeating. So I hope this is kind of useful for anybody who's going through the same thing I am, and just interesting as well to see what really happens. I think there's also one interesting thing to note, is that if you take a look at the gar at the beginning of the video, you can see that towards the back of his tail, he's starting to spot up. When I first got him, his entire body, like, there was just a black line running from his snout all the way to his tail. And you guys can just kind of see, as the time goes on, how the spots start to break apart, so you can see them more clearly, which I think is super cool. And unfortunately, because his back was going through all of this, and I was making this video, I didn't actually get to document it as well as I wanted to. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and keep watching. So here we're pretty much just taking a look at the effects of having his back broken. You can kind of see the way he's swimming. He's got no control whatsoever. He cannot control the way he's flipping around or diving, and it just looks absolutely horrible and just really sad. So just a quick update on the Gar. Today is the... I have no idea. I'll put the date today. But today is the first time the Gar has gone after some shrimp. What you just watched him eat was a small bit of shrimp. I think he swallowed it, I'm not too sure. But this is a significant improvement over a few weeks ago where he wasn't eating at all. He slowly moved on to bloodworms. Again, with the bloodworms, he was struggling a bit to eat them. My issue was, I think that when he hurt his back, he probably hurt it all along his spine, so it might have hurt him to open his mouth too wide. But now I think it seems to be getting a bit better. And when he actually went after the piece of shrimp. It wasn't as if I could let these float on the surface like I did for the bloodworms. So his mobility is coming back as well, which is a great sign. Don't know if you'll go for that. I mean, yeah. See, there we go. Again, he's not 100% okay. His back isn't completely fine. He can't swim 100% still. And he does struggle to actually get the food down a bit more than previously, from what I'm seeing. I mean, this time around, it's okay. He's not struggling as much. I think this piece is a bit smaller as well. But I don't know if you can see, there's a little lump under his stomach. That is the piece of shrimp he's had before. So I'm trying not to speak too fast because I'm quite excited, but hopefully this is just a good sign that he's improving. He'll get back, and he might not, his spine might not fully recover, and he might have that bit of a deformity, but he might be able to swim back to normal in a few weeks' time. But the fact that he's eating again and he's got his energy back is just a great sign. So I'll keep you guys updated as it goes along, and hopefully eventually his back will soon get better. But yeah, keep you guys updated. Alright, and we are back. So today is day 2. We're gonna go try feed the Gar some more shrimp he ate yesterday, and these other fish are quite excited to eat, so let me go ahead and quickly get them some food first, and then we're gonna go ahead and feed the Gar. Yep, so as you can see, he's still not 100%. He's struggling to swim about a bit, but let's see if he goes after some food. Is he going after anything? What's he doing? I think he's just smelling around for some food. And he's trying to eat it. Yep, he definitely knows it's food. But will he go after it is the question. So initially when he was injured and not eating, he wouldn't even go after the food on the bottom of the tank, which I found really strange, because even though sometimes when he was completely fine, he would miss the food. And I thought that was a strange sight, but now that he's trying to go after food again, it's just reconfirming this. He is getting better. There we go. Now, that might be a bit too big for him to eat, but he's tanking it like a champ, so I gotta give it to him. Gotta give him the props. Yeah, this guy is probably one of the most fun fish to watch eat, because unlike most of the other fish in this tank, he's actually got big teeth, needle-like teeth, which he uses to kind of hold his quote-unquote prey down and try and swallow it whole. And I just think it's the most fun thing to watch. So yeah, at the moment I think it is just a bit big for him to swallow, so he's having a bit of a struggle. He'll spit it up, chew, spit it up, chew. He'll do it a couple of times. He'll probably be able to swallow it. I mean, I've given him bigger bits of shrimp before in the past, and he's literally just swam around the tank with it in his mouth until eventually he managed to force it down. But yeah, this is just a really good sign that he is eating. So what was it? So I think if we're going to do a total update, he didn't eat for about 2.5 weeks. Then he started eating bloodworms, which he had 1 or 2 strands the first day. And I think the next day he ate as well. And then I think he didn't eat for about 3 days, or I hadn't seen him eat for 3 days. Then he started to pick up his appetite again. So at this point, I'd completely stopped feeding shrimp to the tank. And I think just on a whim, I decided to feed the tank shrimp yesterday. And to my surprise, he actually went after it. And I was really shocked because he'd been eating so little with the bloodworms. I didn't expect him to be able to eat something so big and meaty. But the good sign is that, like, when he eats the shrimp, I actually know that he's had something substantial in his stomach, which will give him more energy. Hopefully, it'll speed up the rate of healing. And hopefully you can also put on some more size. That's what I want after this as well. So for him to put on some size, and then to go into a tank with the arowanas. Because then he'll have more space, and hopefully he won't do this to his back. But if you can see, his back isn't as bad as it was before. When we first saw his back, it was more of a sharp bend in his back. But now it's started to curve, so I think what's happening is it's slowly starting to straighten out. His swimming has improved. He's using his tail a lot more and not spazzing out, turning around upside down. He did do it a bit earlier on. He has, like I said, he's not 100% healed. But, I mean, it's only been 4 weeks. It can take anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks, and that's not even, confirmed. We don't know to what extent other gars have injured their backs. And so this is very new, and this is why I wanted to document it as well, is that it's very difficult to tell whether a fish will recover from an injury or not. And sometimes you're also worried about what to do when your fish gets injured. This is my first time having an injured gar. It's my first time having a gar. So this is all a new process to me, but as a beginner going through this process, I hope that this will help other beginners going through the similar things with what to do in terms of they're not feeding, when to start thinking about maybe you might need to put them down, or when you need to actually just keep pushing, because obviously, I waited nearly 3 weeks to see this guy eat again, and now he's doing significantly better. He still gives me a bit of a worry. Like, sometimes I'll see him down at the bottom of the tank and think, oh my god, he's not breathing, but he's been doing that for a long time, where he just sits on the bottom of the tank. But the worst always goes through your head. So you just, it's just one of those experiences that people have to go through, and there's not a lot of information on it. So it's definitely trying to document it and help other people out there who are in a similar position. Also, just so you know, like, what sort of timescale you're looking at in terms of if you quarantine them or whatever, how long you've actually got to wait until you see significant improvements. Because for me, it took 3 weeks to see any sort of improvement, especially with the eating part. I mean, his back still doesn't look good. His swimming is still not good, but he's got more energy. He's using his tail properly a bit more better. He just seems healthier overall, and his appetite has now come back. As you can see, he's eaten 2 decent-sized chunks of shrimp. So, and he's, I don't know how well you can see, but his stomach has started to bulge out a bit, which is a good sign. But yeah, we'll keep you updated. Hopefully I'll do a daily update on his feeding habits now that he's started to eat again. So I think we're in week 4 or 5 of this process. So fingers crossed that he gets better. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking with me all this time. Yeah, it is quite a long process. Alright, see you guys. I can't. So it's now been nearly a month, 2 months since my Gar first broke his back, and as you can see, he is doing fantastic. His back isn't completely straight still, but it has begun to straighten out a lot more than it has in the past. As you can see, he's easily getting food, he's swimming around, he's energetic. He's actually sitting level in the tank as well, and what I mean by this is he's not pointed up towards the surface, or he's not leaning down towards the bottom of the tank when he just floats at the top. And here we can see our red tail, who's getting absolutely massive. Yeah. But definitely a good sign that he has picked up on food, and he's competing with the other fish quite well. He can be a bit slow, like you'll see in this footage here. He tries to go for the bigger piece. I don't know what the heck is going through his mind when the piece is bigger than him, more or less. And because the Oscar eats a lot, as well as the red tail, it can be a challenge to actually get him food. But there we go. As you see, he still finds the bits that fall to the bottom, so he manages to actually get some food, which is great because he's competing with some very aggressive eaters, and he's doing completely fine. I am continuing to keep an eye on him, but I've not seen anything too concerning. Again, because his back is still slightly bent, you know, there is worry of him getting injured again. What could it mean for him? If it's another fish that decides to pick on him, or if he just gets spooked in the night. But yeah, he's doing alright for the time being, so can't really complain. But that is it for the update. I'll probably do another update in a month's time, showing you how he's kind of progressed. But thanks for watching. I hope you guys are keeping safe, and peace out.